What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Thunder Sports Pod with your boy JT and
The Stash, baby. We bringing you back another episode of Thunder Sports.
yes, sir. We got college football, the national championship. We're gonna give our thoughts and predictions first, as well as round two, divisional NFL. We got that coming up next. So with the Natty, we got Ohio State taking on Notre Dame. What you think about it?
I'll be real. I did not expect Notre Dame to make it this far. I expect them to beat Penn State. I picked them to beat Georgia, but Indiana's the one I thought like, oh, they're gonna get knocked out by Indiana. They're done. But no, them beating Penn and Georgia was impressive on the road. They're headed to play the Ohio State Buckeyes, who have looked absolutely phenomenal this postseason.
100%. And a lot of people were saying, "Oh, the NIL team, they should make it this far," but you don't get free wins whatsoever. You've got to show up every single week and showcase your ability.
No, you absolutely have to, and they did that. Something I found out that was interesting and just something to think about. Both starting QBs for these teams, I want to let you know, are both transfer guys.
That's very true. And we'll have to see how they play. Will Howard versus Riley Leonard. But so going into this game, who do you think is the X factor for both teams?
I'll be real. I think Ohio State can win this game very easily as long as their defense shows up.
Mm, I would agree. I think it's if Ohio State's defense, especially their D line, if they show up to play, they should run away with this one. I mean, they've got some explosive weapons. They got Judkins, Henderson. They got the receivers that are going to be day one picks, obviously. Um, Mbuka and then Jeremiah Smith, the young phenom. So if Will Howard can start moving the chains early, making that Notre Dame defense commit to the run, and just throw it over the top to his guys, I think it'll be a long day for the Fighting Irish. But hear me out. If Jeremiah Love has one of those games, I think it could be close because he's a phenomenal running back that the Fighting Irish has.
And I'm not gonna lie, I've been very impressed with Notre Dame's quarterback. I think the play he's been doing is very Leonard's super good.
Hmm.
I don't know where he'll go from here, if he's gonna make the next step or not, but I do think he's been very impressive all season. They've got one loss on the year, and it's Northern Illinois. Now, if Notre Dame wins this game, I found this out recently. So did you know that if you make the national title game, your conference gets $20 million.
Hmm.
Notre Dame's not part of a conference.
They're
They
not.
got that $20 million sitting at home.
Woo! They got all that 20 million for NIL, for transfer players, for recruits, in-house money.
So my question is, JT, do you think with this success that they've had this season and everything, is there a possibility you see more teams opt out of conferences?
That's a good question. I don't think they would necessarily, but it's something to definitely think about for the fact that uh, I believe if you make it to the playoffs, every person or every team, excuse me, in that conference gets so much money added to the pool. So Notre Dame, they benefit from being out of conference, making it that far, but being in conference definitely has its perks as well.
Oh, it definitely does. Because then, I mean, if you're in a conference and you don't make it, and your team makes it, you get $20 million. You still get part of that. So for like Michigan is getting money because Ohio State made it.
Yep, exactly. And not only that, you got to think. I mean, if you've got to win your conference Power Four to get into the playoffs as an automatic bid, and if you're independent, you've got to have a season like Notre Dame, or you're not getting in at all because your strength of schedule won't be there, your quality wins won't be there. You don't have any conference wins, so unless you are scheduled a top 25 team for that season, you're gonna be out of luck.
I think personally nowadays it maybe get to the point where if you don't beat two 25 schools, I mean, it depends also if they expand the playoffs or not. That's still yet to be
True.
determined because they've talked about a 14-man playoff. So I'm
I think they need to leave it with 12 men. I mean, they really do. I think at least 4 years would probably be pretty solid because you got to think 1 year is not enough to really see how this 12-team playoff field really flows with everything in the brackets. So give it a few more years at least before even considering expanding it. I think 12 is honestly perfect.
I personally like 12 so far. I think 12 is working. I like the matchups. I know a lot of people are like, well, we haven't had a close game. And I'm like, well, if you want to be fair, none of the top first 4 games were close. Let's not forget that. So that game wasn't close. And a lot of people got like rubbed the wrong way. They're like, well, there's not. I heard a lot of people talk about there's not 12 good teams in college football. There's not 12 top teams. There's 8. There's 4. How did you feel about the playoffs this year so far? Besides your team's losing, besides that, I know that sucks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, overall, I think you saw some dominance from some teams that obviously deserve to be in there. I mean, you look at Ohio State, that ran through Tennessee, they ran through Oregon, and now they're about to be playing in the national championship game. So, you get those type of teams in the playoffs, and you expect them to play good. But you get the teams like Indiana, a team like maybe Tennessee, who played good during the regular season, but they really got blown out. So, it seems to question should they have been in there or not. And a lot of people are going around saying, "Oh, Alabama should have been in." But then my rebuttal to that is, you got to win your regular season games to even be in contention for the playoffs. There should not be a 3-loss team to make the college football playoffs if it's 12 teams, in my opinion.
No, I'm in agreement with this. This is something we've discussed kind of heavily. We're both in favor of keeping it to the point where if you would lose, the only way you're going to get in with 3 losses, in my opinion, is winning your conference.
Yeah.
Which Georgia got in with 2 losses, but they won their division. I was like, man, are they going to be in if they get that 3rd loss? But the committee said that these games are not going to matter. So my question is, if these games won't affect your ranking, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I think they should just put in, if you make your top conference, if you make your conference championship game, you're in. I'm almost at that point. That's 10 teams. You put Notre Dame at 11. Because that was it Power 4 conference? Power 4 conference. It's 8. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad, Pac-12. Yeah, so it's Power 4 now. So you got the 8 there, and then you can go off of that if you really want to do. Like, to me, the conference game should be for your seeding more than it should be your like if you're in or not kind of deal.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, ultimately, if you have 1 or 2 losses and you're playing in the championship game for your conference, it makes sense to not penalize you for getting that far. So I could get behind that for sure. But the committee's saying this now. I've got to stand 10 toes on that and really going forward not deviate from what they said, because if they change up, there's going to be absolute chaos.
I mean, that's what
college.
college.
So they got to pick the teams that fit that criteria next year, the year after that, and the year after that.
And I've been on top of this, and I think this is something because we've had this with the committee. I was like, because they're like, well, the committee picks the games, which games are going to be the closest, and they've done a terrible job of that over the last 10 years with the 4-team playoff. 19 of 30 games, including championship matches, which wasn't really their determination, but it ended up with their determination. I'm just saying, you're not doing a great job getting these close games, and you've done this for years. You've had top four teams, and
exactly.
We have not had unless this game is close, which I kind of hope it is, because I want a good game out of this. We have not had a close championship game since 2017. That's the last time that we've had a championship game determined by 1 score or less.
That's wild.
So I think the committee either needs a new committee or to figure some stuff out, because what their job is, they haven't been able to accomplish it.
It's very true. A lot of people have been kind of advocating for Nick Saban to be the head chairman of the college football playoff committee. Would you like that?
No, because Bama's in every year, even if they're 0-11, 0-12. They're still going to be in. They had a hard schedule, so they're in.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. But go off of this matchup, talking about the natty game. I think the X factor for the Buckeyes, a lot of people will say that D-line, They've got some dogs, but I'm going to go with Caleb Downs, the safety for Ohio State. If he has a really good game and confuses Riley Leonard in the aerial attack, I think the Buckeyes will win this game. However, flip side, for the Fighting Irish, I think Jeremiah Love has to take some pressure off of Riley Leonard early and hit some gaps and break some long runs against that really stingy Ohio State defense. So if he's not able to do that, all of the pressure is on the shoulders of Riley Leonard, and I'm not so sure if he can do that given how well this Buckeyes defense is playing this year.
And I'll be real. I was thinking about this. Like, I know a lot of people, like, LSU has been, like, wide receiver U for, like, the last 5-6 years. Maybe a little bit longer than that, if you want to be fair, with OBJ all the way back. But
Jarvis Landry.
Yeah. But I will say, I think Ohio State is becoming the wide receiver U of the North. I think they've been putting out some bangers. They got some good wide receivers. I know Marvin Harrison Jr. did not have like a breakout year, but I thought it was crazy that if you look at his stats, they're the same as his dad's his rookie year.
That's true.
So if I'm the Cardinals, I'm looking at Archie Manning in a couple of years.
But man, yeah, hey, I mean, that'd be something else, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, it would. But Riley Leonard has to play good against this D for Notre Dame to win this game. I do agree that he needs a little pressure off of him during this, but I have to be real. He has to play good. This is not just an easy defense he's playing against. Neither was Penn State. I will put that. Penn State was the top defense all year, and I was really impressed. But yeah, that's my thing with Leonard is he has to be able to pick apart this defense to win this game. Because here's the thing, I don't see Notre Dame winning this game besides like a really close score. If Ohio State wins this game, I can see it being any of the scores that they've put up this in the playoffs so far. 40-point game, 40-point game, 28-point game. I would not be shocked if they put up another 30, 40-point game. Like they've looked good all year. They had two little marks on them. They played a really good one against Oregon, which didn't really matter. Later on, they got their revenge. And then the Michigan, which is a rivalry game. And hands down, I will put this out. It is the biggest rivalry in college football. Like, absolutely hands down. Those guys would rather beat their rival than win a championship that year. So that's the kind of intensity when I look at college football, that's what it should be. So, but if I had to give my guess on this, or my take, I'm taking the $20 million team. I'm taking the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Man, what's the score? What you got?
If Ohio State wins this game, it's going to be at least a 2-score game. Give me 40-21.
Okay, I like it. So, everybody, you heard him. Stash has got Ohio State, OHIO.
The Ohio State.
But I'm going to shake things up a little bit. I got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to win the national championship. I think their defense will be locked and loaded, ready to go, attention to detail, and I think Riley Leonard has one of those games that really propel his draft stock. And like I mentioned earlier, the X factor for Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love, I think he'll have a pretty good game, enough of a game to give Notre Dame the win. But that defense for Notre Dame, they've got to show up like they have this playoff run, and I think they will. So, final score, I'm going to go ahead and say 23-20 Notre Dame.
Ooh. You get a close matchup. Is it a game-winning field goal?
It is.
Okay. That's what I like to hear. Make the history in the moment. I need it. I hope you're right, actually, because that would be a crazy game to watch. Close. It'd be history in the making. You're witnessing live. Oh, I can't wait for it.
Hey, Riley Leonard going down in the history books as possibly one of the best Notre Dame quarterbacks ever if he gets a championship under him.
I mean, next Joe Montana.
Yeah. And then, the lineage, the DNA, man, his grandpa played for the Notre Dame squad, so makes sense. That'd be a crazy storyline.
Oh, it definitely will be.
But, guys, that is it. College football season wraps up after next Monday with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Should be a good game. We'll have to wait and see. But let us know what you think about our predictions down below.
Thank you, guys.
NFL divisional round. We got it going. So we're going to give our predictions, our takes, everything in between. We got the AFC first, the 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Houston Texans. What you think about it?
I'm actually really shocked the Texans are here. Not to discredit the Texans in any way. They've done a lot this year, but their division was really bad. I mean, really bad. It was worse than the NFC South last year. That's how bad it was. I was really shocked, but it was Herbert. It's hard for the number one defense in scoring, points allowed, to stay on, keep people off the field if they're gonna give up 4 picks. I absolutely blew my mind to see Herbert play like that. This is a guy I have defended for years. I'm like, dude's a top 5 quarterback, top 5 quarterback, top 5 quarterback. This guy, I'm like, he's got everything. He's just lacking people around him. I will say this was a rebuild year for the Chargers. I don't want to discredit that. This is a rebuild year, and they made the playoffs. They won 10 games, 11 games this year. Absolutely. Joe Alt was a great addition. Defense stepped it up real heavy. They only gave up one big game all year. I was thoroughly I'm like, this team is good. They're going to beat the Texans. They're just better. But when your quarterback throws 4 picks in a game, it's really hard to win unless you're Jared Goff. So it blew my mind. I guess this was the Texans weren't going to have 4 picks and not win this one. So Nico Collins is doing everything he can. And Joe Mixon, who honestly, Bengals should not have let go. He's having a great year. Think about him on that offense right now this year. They probably would have won a couple more games and been in the playoffs with Joe Mixon.
Probably would have.
So I have to say, but when it comes to the Chiefs, the dark magic that they have, the Taylor Swift magic, is absolutely too much. Give me the Chiefs. I just don't see the Texans beating them. If they do, I will pull for the Texans the rest of the year to win the Super Bowl. If Texans... Go ahead.
Yeah, what's your final score, you think?
I don't see Mahomes throwing 4 picks. So, in my opinion, give me Chiefs 28, Texans 10. No, I'll change that. Give me 21-28, Black Magic wins them the game.
Okay. Kansas City Chiefs squeaking out a 7-point victory over the Texans.
Bro, all their games have been one possession or less, or overtime.
That's very true. I think having a rest week for the Chiefs of any team will do them a lot of justice heading into this game. Andy Reid will have them guys prepared. I mean, they're looking for their three-peat. They've been here and done that several occasions before. The Texans' defense is going to have to play like they did versus the Chargers last week to keep them in this game. So, Derek Stingley Jr., he's going to match up with probably D-Hop, I would imagine. We'll have to wait and see how he does versus him. But, I mean, he's an all-pro corner for a reason. Honestly, out of college, I liked him better than Sauce, and it's turned out he may be the better corner after all. So, if Derek Stingley shuts down DeAndre Hopkins and whatever the receiver he's matched up against, it'll really depend on that D-line if they can get home to Mahomes. So, if they can get pressure on him, I think it'll be a close ball game. But I think Patrick is going to slice and dice against that defense if I'm keeping it real. So, I've got Kansas City advancing 35-17.
35-17. All right. Yeah, a little more score than me. Chiefs, I can definitely see it though. The Chiefs are just the Chiefs, and it's the playoff Chiefs too. They're a different breed.
And I guarantee you, Travis Kelce is going to look like the GOAT in the playoffs because they always utilize him so much more in the playoffs than compared to the regular season, and just trying to keep him healthy.
He had under 1,000 yards this year and only 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably have this game. He'll probably have 120 and 2 scores or something like that. But
most likely.
We'll have to wait and see. It could be a good matchup, but I think the Chiefs are going to kind of run away with this one. But we got the second matchup of the AFC. This one will be extremely entertaining. We got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Who you got in this one?
So they played once this year already. I don't know if you remember that.
Mm,
Final score was 35-10 Ravens.
man.
Big blowout win. Um, but I'm taking the Buffalo Bills in this one. I think Josh Allen. Because here's the thing about both these quarterbacks right here. If Josh Allen loses this, he's 6-6 in the playoffs.
Mm,
If Lamar loses this, he's 3-3 in the playoffs.
mm.
So I think whoever gets hit here it's not gonna be great. You're gonna be at 500 in the playoffs, so it's not gonna be great for either one. But I think for some reason the year that I think they're gonna have the most down year yet, I think they're the strongest they've been. So I think the Buffalo Bills advance. And I'm going to say that Josh Allen shreds their defense, and the Bills' defense comes to play. I think the Bills' defense comes to play and shuts down Lamar for the most part and Henry. I think they're going to have to really utilize Henry to win this game.
Absolutely.
So, and Zay Flowers is still questionable to come back. Yeah, just give me Buffalo. Give me a 34-21
Okay.
Bills.
Buffalo. I mean, being at home versus the Ravens is absolutely huge because playoff football, if you've got home field advantage, that can be one of the biggest things for you. Huge momentum. And I really think it's going to come down to if Lamar Jackson can get it to his weapons without Zay Flowers being on the field, because it's looking like he's not going to be able to suit up whatsoever in this matchup. But Derrick Henry, he's gotten you this far. If he can really get some yards on the ground early against that stingy Buffalo defense, who has really improved over the last few weeks, it'll be something to see. But Buffalo's got some work cut out for him because Derrick Henry is a different breed than Javonte Williams, what they faced last week versus Denver.
No, I definitely agree. Good job on the Broncos making it as far. I took the Bills because I was like, I just don't see the Broncos winning this. I want them to, but I just don't see it happening. Josh Allen has been an absolute stud. And Lamar, I mean, I'm not going to discredit Lamar. Lamar's had an absolutely incredible season. But I will be real when I say I 100% believe this game will determine MVP.
Mm.
Whoever.
Which I agree with you, but it should not be
No,
a
it shouldn't.
playoff.
It
should not. Yeah.
It shouldn't. There's hands down. I think they should do the MVP at the week after the first week of the playoffs. Announce the MVP. Get it out of the way. These guys are playing for the Super Bowl only at that point. That's all they're doing, and I like that aspect a lot better. So I would prefer that. But I do think that whoever wins this game is winning MVP. Because that's what they're going to do. They're waiting on this. They're like, okay, we got this matchup. Whoever plays better and wins the game is getting this. So I think that's this game is gonna determine that super heavy.
Man, I cannot wait for this game, man. It is going to be so much fun to watch, and ultimately, I think it goes to overtime, and it'll be offensive fireworks all over the place. I'm predicting 45-42 Ravens win.
Ooh.
And hear me out. Josh Allen loses the coin flip in overtime, and they just completely just lose it. Like they play terrible, turnover, Baltimore gets it, and they win the game, leading up to overtime.
Just to put this out there, if Josh Allen does not make the AFC Championship this year, that will be the 6th year since he's made it. So
And it's really questioning how much longer can we really talk about Josh Allen in the regard of him being obviously he's a top 3 quarterback, but he cannot get past Mahomes, and he can't really make it any farther than the AFC Championship game, which he's been to once. So the loser of this game is going to have that on their resume. Oh, you cannot get past Mahomes, and especially just move on in the playoffs. So both of these teams are phenomenal, but can you win when it matters the most is the big question. So I've got Baltimore advancing in a slim margin, and it'll be very entertaining, guys. I think Josh Allen, he's going to be looking for his revenge versus Mahomes, but it's not going to happen this year. Lamar Jackson will be looking for that matchup.
Oh, I think I agree. Lamar could be looking for it. Does Lamar want the smoke again, though? That's the question. It's been a while since Allen got the chance to do it. We saw the Ravens and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game last year,
Yep.
and
Repeat of last year.
and what happened? Lamar fell apart. He tried to throw he couldn't throw the ball. He struggled, and
And
they didn't run the ball where they were the strongest last season. But I mean, it's Gus Edwards, so I get it. But you have Henry now.
They've really upgraded in the running game. So, and plus the huge thing is Lamar had 41 passing touchdowns on the season, guys. He's improved tremendously at reading the field, taking his progression throws, and really seeing the entire defense. So, I think Lamar's going to be ready for this Buffalo defense. And give me Baltimore. I like them versus Buffalo as the away team.
Playing in Buffalo at this in January.
Ooh, imagine! I just want to see a good ball game. I think it's going to be the best game of the divisional round. Imagine a snow game too.
If it's a snow game, just mark it off for Lamar because that's Allen's specialty.
Absolutely. But guys, what do you think about the Ravens versus the Bills? Do you think Josh Allen's going to get it, or do you think Lamar gets the edge? So we'll go ahead and move on to the NFC side of things. We've got the Detroit Lions as the 1 seed taking on the Washington Commanders. What do you think about it?
Detroit does struggle with mobile QBs, but I saw a really good take, and they answered that response with, "Who doesn't?"
Yeah,
I mean that's fair. Sure. I think Jaden Daniels played really well. Very disappointing as a Bucs fan. Really sucked, but it is what it is. All I can say is the Lions, you better not lose this game. It's playoff revenge kind of deal. Like if you get knocked out, it's really hard to root for the team that knocked you out, kind of deal. So I'm definitely taking Detroit in this because I need a little revenge for me on that one, you know. So I think Jaden Daniels is playing really well. I think the Lions just probably are too much. Not on the defensive side of the ball, but like on the offensive. I don't think their defense can keep up with them. They struggled with Tampa, who was another top offense, and the Lions have an even better offense. Like they get everything rolling even better. Jared Goff's had an incredible season. St. Brown's been incredible. The whole team has been good. So I'm definitely taking the Lions on this, and I'm taking 35-10.
Oof, big blowout.
Maybe 17 if they score the last 2 minutes like they did against Tampa the first week of the season. But something like that. I just don't see it being very competitive.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good prediction. I think Aaron Glenn is going to make Jaden Daniels see ghost and honestly showcase why he's a rookie. Phenomenal talent, don't get me wrong, but I think Washington's luck ends here. I got Detroit as well. And like you mentioned, I mean, Jared Goff is phenomenal under pressure, and he's got a lot of weapons. Even Monty being out, I don't think it'll really slow them down whatsoever.
He might be back this week, too. So if you have Monty back, too.
And Gibbs.
Against one of the worst rush defenses in football.
Yeah. So, yeah, and Amon-Ra, you got Laporte out there, J-Mo. I mean, there's just too many weapons for that offense from Detroit to not succeed against Washington in this one. Plus, you got to think about it from the flip side. Outside of Scary Terry, how many weapons does Washington really have that scares Detroit's defense? I don't think many at all. I mean, you got Brian Robinson, the running back, but if you stack the box versus him, you can easily stop him. So, I mean, you've got Noah Brown, you've got Denami Brown. So, I mean, they've got a couple of guys that are all right, but I just don't know if it's enough, man. They don't really have an extra guy outside of Scary Terry for them to really make it a close game, in my opinion.
What's his face? They hit Zach Ertz in the game a couple times too. So I mean, he's there. He's a veteran presence, but I just think the Lions. It's just the Lions are outmatch them just too much. Maybe after this draft class, maybe the Commanders could be up there again and in the playoff talk. I think they probably win their division next year if I'm being real. So I'd probably say I just think this isn't the year for the Commanders. It's been a great run. You've had an incredible. You got your first win in 20 years in the playoffs. It's been a good year, but it's just gonna end here.
I think Jaden Daniels is going to have to utilize his legs more than ever in this game because they're going to bracket Scary Terry down the field. He's not going to have a whole lot of open throws, so he's going to have to take advantage of his legs. I mean, he broke the single season rushing yards record for a rookie quarterback for a reason, so you got to utilize what you're good at, and that's definitely one of his best abilities. So I'm predicting Detroit to win 38-14.
34 to 18. What do you say?
38-14.
38 to 14. So basically, yeah, real close. Both our scores were very right there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a blowout.
Yeah, I agree. And if it's close at all, that'll surprise me.
No, it definitely. Yeah, me too.
But the last NFC matchup we got, guys, are the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the LA Rams.
I'm taking the upset.
I'm
taking the Rams.
Oh, okay. Got a little reasoning behind that?
Yes. As I stated before the season started, I think the Rams D line was going to stay good. I did not think losing Aaron Donald was going to be that big of a hit. I expected Javon Curse and Brandon Fisk, the absolutely amazing pair up that the Rams cooked in the draft room, was absolutely astonishing. I think that they are going to handle Saquon for the most part. I'm not saying Saquon's going to shut down. I'm just saying for the most part they're going to keep him in track. I think, I think the Phillies had a really good defense this year, especially with Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. Where they struggled very heavily, especially in the Super Bowl, and then last year too, is the DB situation. They were struggling very heavily. They went out and got two of the best corners in this draft. Mm-hmm. Very smart. You addressed your problems immediately, and I love to see that. Even though I'm not, absolutely. You know how I feel about Philly. So, absolutely. But my question is, are those two young studs going to be able to handle Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and I almost said Cooper Rush, but that's a QB for Dallas.
Out at wide receiver.
I mean, we're fitting a scheme here, so you might as well.
Yeah.
I think that's going to play a big factor. I just don't think their DBs. I think their DBs are very good. I just don't know if they can handle those guys. Puka Nacua was a top 5. You could argue stat-wise, he was a top 5 wide receiver last year as a rookie. And then Cooper Kupp, who is the Triple Crown champion, which we just now got another one since the last time he did it, and Jamar Chase, and Super Bowl MVP Cooper Rush. Matt Stafford has been looking good, and I expected
very decisive.
I expected the Rams to be better this year, but I did not expect them to win the division. I expected them to finish second in the division, but not win it. So I think that was really impressive on that. The 49ers injuries and falling apart, but you still managed to get it here. So I'm taking the Rams in this one over the Eagles because I just don't know if they can handle that. He's got a lot of weapons to throw to, and that's not even. I haven't even started on their run game with Kyron Williams.
Exactly.
So
extremely physical runner. I mean, man, he always falls forward. So I think two reasons that really are in favor of the Rams. You got to think Nakobe Dean is out for this matchup, the linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles. Huge loss for them, as well as we got braided Cooper Kupp. Man, I mean, did you see it? So he got them slick braids. I mean, he's looking like vintage 2021 Triple Crown winner. I think him and Puka Nacua, will be too much for the Eagles to handle. I've got the upset as well. I like the LA Rams in this one. I'm going to say 27-24 final.
And I'll be real, A.J. Brown has not been that effective the last couple weeks, and even before that. He's been hurt a lot this year. I'm not saying he's fallen off or anything in even close to that consideration. And Devontae Smith, who has been very good, but the issue with both these guys have been hurt all year. And my question is, how long are they going to be healthy for in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's really going to come down to if the O-line for Philly can hold up against that crazy pass rush for the Rams. I mean, Byron Young, I called it. He was an X factor against Minnesota last night. He had a phenomenal game alongside Jared Verse. He was phenomenal as well. And Minnesota just got outcoached by Sean McVay. So if he can outcoach Philly in this one, which I think he can, we'll have to wait and see what the outcome will be. But I really do think Jalen Hurts is going to have to drop back and make some tight window throws, and he's kind of prone for turnovers when it comes down to it. But he's a great quarterback utilizing his legs as well. So it's going to be a great matchup to see which team can utilize their strengths the most.
And I'm in full agreement with that. I agree. I think that this is going to be Jalen Hurts is just known for turnovers, and he started to get them down kind of in the year. But like you looked at his stats against the Packers, it was not great. He didn't play great. It wasn't him that like really like won them that game. I think Saquon was the best addition they could have ever thought about making.
Oh, absolutely. He's gonna have to play. He's gonna have to play great again this round to really give him a chance.
Yeah, but I don't know if he can. He's carried them on his back a lot this year. I don't know if just now, like I don't know if he just can carry them even more.
Yeah.
It's gonna hit a point. He's gonna hit a wall, and it's just gonna be hard for them to stay caught up, in my opinion. So I'm taking like a 24-10, maybe 24-14. I think Saquon gets him once, and maybe a tush push for Jalen Hurts, but
I can see it. But I mean, you got to think that these two teams matched up earlier during the season, and Philly blew them out the water. But you got to think too, this is a different Rams team. Momentum is real, and they're the hottest team in football right now. So can't really compare that loss to right now because the Rams are playing with fire. No pun intended, So they're playing great right now, and they've got all the momentum in the world to beat and upset the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh, we get a rematch of last year if that happens. Lions, Rams.
Ooh, man, that'd be something.
And
An NFC Championship.
Stafford versus the Lions to go to the Super Bowl.
That would be amazing.
Stafford would be the most hated man in Detroit if he does it. He can never go back. He can never go back.
Ooh, after they booed him last year too, that would be great revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet, sweet revenge. But hey, guys, that's our picks for the AFC and NFC divisional round. Let us know down below. What do you think? Give us a follow, sub if you haven't already. Leave and drop a comment down below. Also, our TikTok handle, Thunder Sports Pod as well. If you haven't heard, TikTok may be getting banned, unfortunately, on January 19th. We'll have to wait and see if it is. We've got several other platforms on X, Instagram. Be more active on YouTube as well. But let's hope TikTok does not get banned.
We out, baby.